Alex had never imagined that an ordinary Tuesday could turn into one of the strangest days of his life. The sun rose over the city, casting golden light across the streets, but he barely noticed it. His mind was filled with the news he had received the night before, a formal invitation to meet with an alien ambassador from a species called the Xylarans. Humans had encountered them only recently, and while their technology was advanced, their customs were confusing and strict. As Alex stepped into the sleek metallic hall where the ambassador waited, he felt a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The room was enormous, its walls glowing faintly with light that seemed alive. Strange patterns shifted across the floor, moving like liquid. Standing at the center was Tyrell, the Xylaran ambassador, taller than any human Alex had seen, with eyes that shimmered like polished gemstones. "Alex of Earth," Tyrell's voice resonated in the room, deep and calm. "We bring you a gift." Alex blinked. He had expected gifts in the form of knowledge, technology, or perhaps rare resources. What he did not expect was what came next. From behind Tyrell, a young Xylaran girl stepped forward. She was smaller than most Xylarans, her skin a soft shade of violet, and her eyes wide with uncertainty. "This is Lyra," Tyrell announced. "She has been trained to serve as custom dictates. She is your gift." Alex froze. His mind raced. In Xylaran society, slavery, or what they called servitude, was considered an honorable and permanent position. But in human terms, this was unimaginable. A person could not be a gift. A person had feelings, thoughts, and the right to choose their own path. He looked at Lyra, who avoided his gaze, her small hands folded nervously. She did not speak, but Alex could sense her tension. She had never experienced freedom, he realized. Everything about her posture, her hesitation, told him she had been trained to obey, not to think for herself. Alex took a deep breath. He had a choice to make. He could refuse the gift outright, risking offense to the ambassador, or he could accept her, but treat her with human respect. He chose the latter. "Thank you, Tyrell," Alex said carefully. "I will accept Lyra, but she will be treated as a guest, not as a servant." Tyrell's eyes narrowed slightly. "That is unusual. Xylaran gifts are not meant to be questioned." "I understand your custom," Alex replied. "But I am human. We have different values. I will show Lyra kindness, and she will have the freedom to make her own choices." Lyra's eyes flicked toward Alex, a hint of curiosity breaking through her nervousness. It was the first sign of trust she had shown in years. The next hours were a blur of introductions and explanations. Tyrell instructed Lyra to remain calm, to follow Alex's guidance, and to try to understand human ways. Alex, meanwhile, tried to understand Lyra. He asked simple questions about her life, her skills, and her interests. At first, her answers were hesitant, almost mechanical, reflecting the training she had received. But Alex persisted, speaking, gently and patiently. As the day went on, Alex decided to start with something small but meaningful: clothing. Xylaran attire for females was elaborate and restrictive, designed to show obedience and status. He wanted Lyra to feel comfortable and free. He led her to a small room filled with simple human clothes, soft fabrics, loose-fitting tops, and comfortable pants. "You can choose what you like," he said. "You don't have to wear what others expect of you." Lyra's eyes widened. She picked up a soft shirt and hesitated. May I wear this?" she asked quietly, the question itself a new experience for her. "Yes," Alex said with a smile. "You may wear anything you choose. You have that right now." For a moment, Lyra just stared at him. Then slowly she nodded and changed into the clothes. When she emerged, her posture seemed lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. Alex noticed the small, almost imperceptible smile on her face. "You look comfortable," he said. "How does it feel?" Lyra hesitated, then admitted, "I feel free." Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. Freedom. He had given her something that her entire society had denied her. It was a small act, but it was a start. As the evening approached, Alex and Lyra sat together sharing food and conversation. Lyra was fascinated by Earth's simple meals, the taste of bread, the sweetness of fruit. She had never experienced flavors like these before. Alex found her laughter contagious. It was soft at first, almost shy but genuine. Meanwhile, Tyrell observed from a distance. He was quiet, his expression unreadable. He had expected Lyra to remain obedient, to bow and remain silent, yet here she was, speaking freely, laughing, and beginning to think for herself. Tyrell did not interfere, but a flicker of uncertainty crossed his eyes. Perhaps he thought humans were teaching something Xylarans had forgotten. Before the night ended, Alex gave Lyra a simple gift, a small journal. "Write down your thoughts," he said. "You don't have to show anyone. Just write what you feel." Lyra took it cautiously, running her fingers over the cover. "I can write my own thoughts?" she asked. "Yes," Alex replied. "For the first time you can." That night, as Alex returned to his own room, he felt a mix of emotions. He had accepted a gift he did not want in its original meaning, but he had turned it into something far greater. Lyra was no longer a symbol of servitude. She was a person, curious, cautious, and beginning to discover what it meant to be free. Outside, the city lights glimmered, but inside Alex's mind, a new light had begun to glow. He did not know what challenges awaited him with Tyrell and Xylaran society, but he knew one thing for certain. He would protect Lyra's freedom no matter what. And in doing so, he had opened the door to something extraordinary, a friendship that could bridge worlds. The morning sun streamed through the windows, painting the room with soft gold. Lyra woke to the strange sounds of Earth, the hum of traffic, the distant chatter of people, and the occasional bird singing outside. She sat on the edge of the bed, holding the small journal Alex had given her. She hesitated for a moment, then opened it carefully. The blank pages felt strange and exciting at the same time. For the first time, she could record her own thoughts. Alex knocked gently on the door. "Good morning, Lyra," he said with a friendly smile. "Did you sleep well?" Lyra nodded. "I slept. It was quiet here, peaceful." Alex's smile widened. "I'm glad. Today I thought we could explore a bit outside. I want you to see Earth from your own eyes, not just from what you've been told about other places." Lyra looked at him uncertainly. Walking outside freely was something she had never done. In Xylaran society, her movements had always been controlled. She had never chosen her own path. Yet something about Alex's calm confidence made her trust him. She followed him outside. The city was alive with motion, people moving in all directions, vehicles gliding along streets, and sounds of laughter and conversation. Lyra's violet eyes widened. Every small detail fascinated her. The way sunlight reflected off windows, the smell of fresh bread from a nearby bakery, the way people smiled at each other. "Look at it all," Alex said gently. "This is your choice to experience. You can walk anywhere, see anything, and stop whenever you like." Lyra took a hesitant step forward, then another, until she was moving confidently beside him. "It feels strange," she admitted. "I have never walked without permission." "You'll get used to it," Alex said. "Freedom takes practice, but it is worth it." They stopped at a small park. Children were playing, dogs running, and flowers swayed in the breeze. Lyra crouched to touch the petals, marveling at their softness and color. She had never noticed the beauty of such simple things. Alex sat beside her on a bench. "What do you think?" he asked. Lyra tilted her head, considering. "It is alive. Everything moves as it wants. It feels honest." Alex nodded. "That's how life works here. People make choices, and they learn from them. You can choose what to do with your life, just like them." Lyra looked down at her hands. She wanted to speak, but the words felt strange on her tongue. After a moment, she whispered, I do not know how to decide yet." That's fine, Alex said. You don't have to know everything at once. Start small. Decide what you want today. That is enough. For the next few hours, Alex introduced Lyra to simple Earth experiences. They visited a small market, where Lyra examined fruits she had never tasted. She marveled at the colors and smells, asking questions about everything: apples, oranges, and even small pastries. Alex guided her patiently, letting her choose what she wanted to try. When she bit into a juicy apple and smiled, for the first time Alex felt a quiet joy. See, he said. Making choices can be fun. Lyra laughed softly, the sound delicate and unfamiliar even to her. She was learning something no one in her life had ever taught her, that her own preferences mattered. Later, Alex introduced her to a simple activity: drawing. He handed her a pencil and paper. Draw what you see or what you feel, he instructed. Lyra hesitated, staring at the blank paper. She had never expressed herself visually before. Slowly, she began to sketch: a tree, a flower, a figure walking freely. As she worked, she realized she could create something that belonged entirely to her. No one had told her what to draw. No one judged her. Alex watched silently, impressed by her concentration. You're very good, he said when she finished. Lyra blushed slightly, hiding her face. She had never received genuine praise. It felt strange and warm inside her chest. After lunch, Alex took her to a library. The building was quiet, filled with the scent of books. Lyra's eyes widened as sure. The next morning, Alex noticed a small tension in the air. Lyra moved around the apartment with more confidence, picking her own clothes, choosing her meals, and even deciding what they would do together. She laughed easily now, a sound that felt lighter than the air itself. Yet Alex sensed that something was coming, something beyond his control. He didn't have to wait long. A communication alert pinged on his device. The message was from Tyrell, the Xylaran ambassador. The words were formal and sharp. Your treatment of Lyra is concerning. Our customs dictate she must remain in her trained position. We request clarification. Alex frowned. He had expected this. In Xylaran society, gifts of servitude were sacred. Lyra's newfound independence was a shock to them, but Alex knew he could not ignore it. He decided to meet Tyrell again, this time to explain his perspective. When he arrived at the embassy, Tyrell greeted him with his usual calm demeanor, though Alex could see the tension behind his eyes. Alex of Earth, Tyrell began. Lyra was given to you as a gift under Xylaran law. She is trained to serve, and her position cannot change, yet you allow her freedoms. This is improper. Alex met Tyrell's gaze steadily. I understand your customs, Tyrell. I respect them. But I am human. On Earth, no one can be a gift in that sense. People have the right to choose their lives. Lyra is a person, not a possession. She will make her own choices. Tyrell's expression tightened. You risk offending Xylaran tradition. Our society values obedience and order. Lyra's behavior reflects upon you and upon us. Alex sighed. Perhaps, but kindness and respect are values too. I will not force her to obey. I believe she can thrive if given freedom. Tyrell said nothing for a moment, then nodded slowly. You are unusual, Alex. Your ways are confusing to us. But I will observe. Know this. Xylaran society does not accept disobedience lightly. Alex understood the warning. Lyra's safety depended on how he handled these conflicts. He needed to prepare her for the challenges ahead. Back at home, he explained everything to Lyra in simple words. Tyrell and your people may not understand the way we live, he said gently. They may not like that you make your own choices. But you have to remember who you are and what you can do. Lyra listened quietly, her violet eyes thoughtful. I do not want to return to the old way, she admitted softly. I feel alive now. I do not want to be only what others say, Alex smiled. Then you must hold on to that feeling. You are learning to think for yourself. That is your power. The next days were a delicate balance. Lyra learned more about Earth customs, walking, in crowded streets, ordering food in restaurants, even using public transport. Each experience tested her independence. Some people stared at her strange appearance or unusual speech, but Alex encouraged her to respond with confidence and curiosity. One afternoon, they visited a science center. Lyra's eyes lit up at the displays of stars, planets, and galaxies. She had studied Xyloran astronomy before, but humans looked at the universe differently. They saw possibilities, patterns, and mysteries waiting to be solved. Lyra asked question after question, absorbing knowledge eagerly. "You are very curious," Alex remarked. "Curiosity is one of the most human things. It leads to discovery and understanding." Lyra paused. I want to learn everything I can, not because I must, but because I choose to." Alex felt a swell of pride. That was exactly what he had hoped for. She was beginning to embrace her freedom fully, but challenges did not wait. One evening, a group of Xyloran diplomats arrived unannounced. They had come to assess Lyra and ensure she was properly obedient. Their presence made Lyra tense. She had never seen so many Xylorans at once, and the weight of her society's expectations pressed down on her. Alex stepped forward calmly. "They are here to observe," he whispered to Lyra. "Remember, you do not have to do what they expect. You can speak and act for yourself." The diplomats watched as Lyra interacted with Alex, taking notes on her behavior. Alex introduced simple tasks, making a small meal, arranging objects, even choosing a book to read aloud. Lyra performed them carefully but confidently, showing creativity and independent thought. Tyrell arrived quietly, observing from the background. He studied Lyra closely, noting how she smiled, spoke, and moved without hesitation. Something unusual was happening. She was learning to be herself, not what her society had trained her to be. After the diplomats left, Tyrell approached Alex privately. "Your methods are strange," he said. "Yet I see results. Lyra is different. She moves, speaks, and reacts in ways that Xyloran training never allowed. This freedom, it suits her." Alex nodded. "She is learning to live as a person, not a possession. That is what humans believe in. Everyone deserves choice." Tyrell looked thoughtful. "Perhaps. There is merit in this approach. But it will take time. Your ways may conflict with Xyloran law and tradition." Alex shrugged. "Change always comes slowly, but even small steps matter." As the days passed, Lyra grew bolder. She began to explore parts of the city on her own, returning to Alex with stories of what she had seen. She laughed freely, shared her opinions, and even suggested activities. Alex encouraged her at every step, proud of her growing independence. One evening, as they watched the sunset from a rooftop, Lyra spoke softly. "I feel different, stronger. I know I can make choices and I can think for myself. I want to keep learning." Alex placed a hand on her shoulder gently. "And you will. Every day you will learn more. The world is bigger than any rule or custom. You are ready to see it." The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in warm orange light. Lyra's eyes reflected the glow, full of wonder and hope. The challenges of her past were not forgotten, but she had begun to rise above them. And Alex knew that the real journey was only beginning. Cultural conflicts, misunderstandings, and even threats from Xyloran society would come. But for now, Lyra had discovered something priceless, her own voice. The morning air was crisp and the city streets buzzed with life, but a strange tension lingered in Alex's apartment. Lyra moved around, preparing breakfast, but she seemed quieter than usual. Something was coming. Alex could feel it. A sharp alert interrupted his thoughts. His communication device blinked urgently. The message was clear. A group of Xyloran agents was en route to reclaim Lyra. They insisted she must return, citing the sacred laws of her society. Alex's chest tightened. He had expected challenges, but this was more serious than he had imagined. If the agents arrived, Lyra could be taken by force, and yet he knew he could not hand her over. She had begun to understand freedom, to experience choice and self-expression. To lose that now would be devastating. "Lyra," he said calmly, though his mind raced, "we may have visitors soon. They want to take you back. But you have a choice. You can stay with me and we will face this together." Lyra looked up, her violet eyes wide but steady. She had learned so much in the past weeks. The taste of freedom, the joy of learning, the thrill of decision-making. She nodded slowly. I will stay. I choose to stay." Alex smiled, a mix of relief and determination. "Then we prepare. We stay calm and clever. That is our strength." When the Zelaran agents arrived, they were imposing. 3 of them, tall and armed with tools of enforcement, entered the apartment with precise steps. Their leader, a stern Xylaran named Vryn, spoke first. "Lyra belongs to Xylaran law," Vryn said. "You cannot decide for her. She will return with us." Alex stepped forward, his voice steady. "Lyra is not property. She is a person. She has the right to choose. And she chooses to stay here." Vryn's eyes narrowed. "This is not acceptable. You risk offense to Xylaran society. Obey or face consequences." Lyra stepped forward, surprising both Alex and the agents. Her posture was straight, her voice clear. "I choose to stay. I will not return. I have learned to decide for myself, and I will not be taken against my will." The agents exchanged looks. They had never faced a Xylaran who refused to obey so firmly. Alex watched with pride. Lyra had grown stronger than he could have imagined. Vryn's gaze shifted to Alex. "You are a human. Your customs confuse us. But this is not just about you. It is about law, tradition, and honor." Alex nodded. "I understand your customs, but humans value freedom. Lyra's choice must be respected. She is not a gift in your sense. She is a person." The tension in the room was thick. Then, unexpectedly, Lyra acted. She used a small skill she had learned from her society, a subtle control of energy that Xylarans could manipulate naturally. She directed it carefully, creating a barrier that prevented the agents from advancing. It was precise, non-lethal, and effective. The agents froze. Vryn raised an eyebrow, impressed despite himself. "She defends herself." "Yes," Alex said calmly, "and she has the right to do so." Lyra's confidence grew with every passing moment. She stood beside Alex, not as a servant, but as an equal. "I am ready to protect my choice," she said firmly. Vryn studied her, then sighed. "Perhaps humans teach differently than we do. Your ways are strange. But she is capable, and your guidance has made her strong. I see this now." He turned to the other agents. "Stand down. For now." Alex exhaled slowly. The immediate danger had passed, but he knew this was just the beginning. Xylaran society might not accept Lyra's independence easily, and further, conflicts could arise. That night, after the agents had left, Alex and Lyra sat together in quiet reflection. The days after the encounter with the Xylaran agents were calmer, but the atmosphere was different. Lyra moved with purpose and confidence. She no longer hesitated when making choices, and her laughter rang freely through Alex's apartment. But the peace was fragile. Word of her independence had reached other Xylarans. Some were curious, some skeptical, and some quietly disapproving. Alex knew that Lyra's next challenge would be larger than small city adventures or personal lessons. Her actions were starting to ripple beyond their apartment, challenging long-held traditions. One morning, a delegation of Xylaran officials arrived at Alex's residence, not to take Lyra, but to observe her. Among them was Ambassador Tyrrell, who had come to understand what humans had taught her. He watched quietly, letting the others speak first. "Lyra," one official began, "your behavior is unusual for your position. You have been trained to serve, yet you act independently. Explain yourself. Lyra straightened, her violet eyes shining. She spoke clearly and confidently. I have learned that I can make choices. I can act and think for myself. I do not serve anyone against my will. I am learning who I am, and I am not afraid to grow. A murmur went through the Xylaran delegation. Such words had never been spoken by someone of her age and background. Traditionally, obedience was absolute. Lyra was breaking centuries of expectation. Tyrell stepped forward. Observe how she moves and thinks, he said quietly. Humans teach differently. She is capable, creative, and strong. She earns our attention not as a servant but as an individual. Alex felt a mixture of relief and pride. Lyra had faced scrutiny and emerged with her voice intact. More than that, she had impressed even those who had once claimed authority over her. The officials began to test her in small ways. They presented problems to solve, tasks requiring logic, creativity, and quick thinking. Lyra approached each challenge with focus, using knowledge she had learned from both Xylaran training and Earth's lessons. When one Xylaran asked her to organize a complex set of schedules for hypothetical missions, Lyra did not hesitate. She analyzed the options, made efficient choices, and even suggested improvements the officials had not considered. The delegation watched in silence. One older Xylaran, a judge of tradition, finally spoke. She demonstrates wisdom beyond her years, not because she obeys, but because she thinks. Lyra's face flushed slightly, but she stood tall. She realized that respect could be earned through skill and choice, not submission. Alex smiled quietly. He had taught her freedom, but she had shown how powerful it could be in action. Word of her abilities spread quickly among Xylarans. Lyra was invited to share her perspectives with students and young officers. At first, she hesitated, unsure if she could speak before groups of her own species. But Alex encouraged her. Your voice matters. Others may learn from your courage and choices. In a small auditorium, Lyra stood before a group of Xylaran youths. She spoke simply, recounting her experiences on Earth, the joy of making choices, and the lessons of kindness and respect she had learned. She spoke of the power of curiosity, of courage, and of thinking independently. The young Xylarans listened in awe. Some whispered to each other, inspired by her words. Others scribbled notes, clearly influenced by her example. For the first time, many of them questioned the rigid rules they had followed blindly. Afterward, Tyrell approached Alex privately. Your teachings have done more than I expected, he said. Lyra has become a bridge. She is showing us what humans value, and perhaps what we have overlooked. Alex nodded. She has grown. She teaches all of us, humans and Xylarans alike, that respect and freedom can create strength, not weakness. Lyra herself was learning to embrace her influence. She began to help younger Xylarans with lessons, not as a master, but as a mentor. She encouraged them to ask questions, to think, and to explore. She saw the spark of curiosity in their eyes, the same spark Alex had nurtured in her. One afternoon, as they walked through a quiet garden, Lyra turned to Alex. I never imagined this, she said softly. I thought I was only a servant, only a shadow of what others expected. But now, I see that I can make a difference. I can be myself, and it matters. Alex smiled warmly. Yes, it matters. The world is better when people are free to learn and grow. You've already changed the way others see you, and you'll continue to do so. Lyra looked up at the sky, violet eyes reflecting sunlight. She felt the weight of her old life fading, replaced by the possibilities she could shape. I want to continue learning. I want to help others see that freedom is not weakness, it is strength. And Alex knew she would. The journey of a single person, once considered property, had begun to inspire change across worlds. Xylarans were seeing that independence and respect could coexist, and humans had shown them how. That evening, Tyrell visited one last time before leaving the city. He addressed Alex privately. You have taught her more than any Zilaran master could. She is strong, capable, and wise. You may have broken tradition, but you have built something greater. Lyra now carries the seeds of respect, courage, and choice. I see now that this is valuable. Alex nodded. She chose her path, Tyrell. That is what matters, and she will continue to grow. Tyrell's eyes reflected quiet approval. Perhaps humans are teaching us something important. We have much to learn from your ways. As the Zilaran delegation departed, Lyra turned to Alex with a bright smile. I am ready for the future, she said. Whatever comes, I know I can face it. I am learning to be more than I ever imagined. Alex placed a hand gently on her shoulder. And you will. You've earned respect through courage, learning, and choice. That is more powerful than any rule or law. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light over the city. Lyra stood tall, not as a servant, not as a gift, but as a young alien who had learned the value of freedom, respect, and her own voice. She had transformed herself and, quietly, the world around her. For Alex, the journey was far from over, but for now, he allowed himself a moment of quiet pride. Together, they had faced challenges, taught lessons, and inspired change. And in doing so, they had built a bridge between two worlds, one founded on respect, courage, and the power of choice. The city hummed softly under the evening sky as Alex and Lyra walked together. The streets, once strange and overwhelming to her, now felt familiar. Lyra moved with confidence, her violet eyes bright and alert. She had changed so much since the day Alex first met her. She was no longer the quiet, hesitant girl who had been given as a gift. She was a young alien with her own mind, courage, and vision. Alex looked at her with quiet pride. You've done more than I could have imagined, Lyra. You've learned, grown, and inspired others, and you've done it all by being yourself. Lyra smiled. I never thought I could have so many choices, or that my choices could matter. I feel alive in a way I never have before. The calm evening, however, did not mean that challenges had disappeared. Zilaran society still held strict traditions, and some individuals were skeptical of Lyra's independence. But Alex and Lyra had learned to navigate these obstacles carefully. They had discovered that respect, courage, and intelligence could change minds more than confrontation ever could. A week later, Alex received a formal invitation. It was from Zilaran authorities who had observed Lyra's progress. Instead of summoning her back, they requested that she participate in a council meeting to share her experiences and ideas. This was unprecedented. Lyra's voice, once silenced by tradition, was now being heard at the highest levels. As they entered the council chamber, Lyra felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. The room was filled with Zilaran officials, some curious, some doubtful, and some quietly impressed. Tyrell was there, his expression calm but his eyes reflecting subtle pride. Lyra, one of the council leaders began, you have demonstrated unusual independence and skill. Share with us what you have learned and how humans have guided you. Lyra took a deep breath, recalling everything Alex had taught her: freedom, respect, patience, and the value of choice. She spoke clearly, her words thoughtful and confident. I have learned that freedom is not weakness, it is strength. Humans treat each other with respect and kindness, and it allows us to learn, grow, and act with courage. My choices are mine, and I have learned that acting for oneself responsibly can inspire others. The council listened in silence. Some officials shifted in their seats, clearly challenged by her perspective. Lyra continued, I want to help others see that respect and learning can create stronger individuals and a stronger society. I want to be more than what I was told to be. I want to contribute, to teach, and to grow. Tyrell stepped forward, addressing the council quietly. Observe her carefully. Humans have guided her differently than we have ever taught. Yet, she has grown capable, confident, and wise. She is a bridge between our worlds. This is not defiance. It is potential. The council murmured among themselves. Some questioned her independence, but others nodded slowly, seeing the logic in Tyrrell's words. Lyra's courage and intelligence were undeniable. After the meeting, one council elder approached her. "Lyra," he said carefully, "you have shown that choice, respect, and courage can create something new. Humans have taught you well, and perhaps we can learn from this as well. You may continue your path freely, as your actions prove your worth." Surge of pride and relief. For the first time,